Salutations, kings and queens, and welcome back to the Electric Leaf. And tonight is a very special edition of Sage Wisdom. I really wanted to come to you all about the topic of conflict and why it's so important, and why it's so important to, when we experience these moments of conflict, it's so important for us to go into our self-meditations and ask ourselves the question, was I God? Was I God? Was God seeing through me? I got to thinking about this concept not too long ago because, well, I was thinking about how people get in conflicts with one another and why some people can seem to be so angry or so mean or so upset. And as I started to address these concepts, I realized that even in the worst situation, that's an opportunity for us. If we're willing to take it, that's an opportunity for us to allow God, love, harmony, unity, understanding, and compassion to flow through us and be shown. But the only way that that can happen is if the ego is not present. The ego can't be present at that moment. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been in those moments where we're just kind of like, oh no, she ain't about to talk to me like, oh no, he ain't about to talk to me like, you know, that type energy. Oh, she thinks she getting ready. Oh, who do he think he talk? That whole energy. And a lot of times, you know, people want conflict. They want to get a rise out of you. They want to see you fall because they're down. They're down. And so in those moments, we need to recognize, oh, they're down. And those are the moments that we need to stand the tallest and the strongest in the vibration of love, not in the vibration of I'm better than you. You can't faze me. But in the vibration of I see you, I see myself, I understand, I love you. I love you, even if it brings me to tears because of the humility that I had to reach to understand you. I do understand you. Conflict. Conflict. Conflict is that space where when you have two opposing energies, you have someone angry, you have someone mad, you have someone sad. Look at how many times in the community a fight could have been avoided if just one of the participants would have been able to say in their mind, or at least to the person even, I recognize myself in you and I love you. I understand you. I know why you're mad. I know why you're upset. Squashed. Just like that. You know, self-reflection is so important because if you don't self-reflect, you will never understand the spaces where you could have allowed that God energy to flow through you. Those moments where you could have been God, where you could have truly been God. Those moments where you could have truly said, hey, I don't want to fight. Kings and queens, like, we need to be doing this with one another. My sage is getting out of control. I'm going to have to crack the window even more. Yes, tonight Sage is not playing no games. But tonight, the healing message is, what are you vibrating? What conflicts are you able to resolve in your meditations? What situations have happened where you could have been God, but you weren't because you hadn't practiced enough? You know how if you were raised in the church, you've heard you got to have the word already in you. You have to have the word already in you so that when you go to battle, you're already prepared. You're already prepared. You don't need to be in battle trying to prepare for it. You need to already know what to do. You need to already know where your weapons are. Make sure that your weapons are loaded before the battle occurs. And the battle is always right here in the mind. In the mind. Okay? You need to be able to understand when someone is hurting. You need to be able to see when someone is hurting, when someone else is hurting. And what I've realized is that a lot of people are not able to understand when someone else is hurting because they don't understand when they themselves are hurting, because they don't know how to recognize their own voice. They don't know how to recognize their own thoughts. And the reason for this is because they do not understand how to take time to listen to themselves. They have not taken that time to listen to themselves. There's no way that a person can be empathetic if they have not heard their own voice. You have to be in touch with your own star player. I heard, oh my goodness, one of my favorite YouTubers says that. You got to be in touch with your own star player, your own higher self, okay? And you're not going to know what voice you hear when you're on the battlefield. When you're on the battlefield, you're not going to know what voice is yours if you haven't calmed yourself and stilled yourself long enough to know what you sound like. Conflict. It's that moment where you can show somebody else who God is. You can show them love. You can show them patience. You can show them kindness. You don't have to boast yourself up and puff yourself up like, oh, no, you ain't going to talk to me. You don't have to do that. You can stand in understanding and recognition of self. Conflict. That internal conflict that you go through when you realize you're getting ready to go through a spiritual awakening, when you realize that you're getting ready to go through a dark night of the soul. When you recognize that every other voice is driving you crazy but your own, and you don't like the things that you're saying, that's usually the beginning of the dark night of the soul. When you finally take the time to listen to yourself and you know you got to make a change about your life. You know that the time is now. We should talk about the dark night of the soul one night, because it's very interesting and it's a very beautiful transition if you allow it to be. Conflict. That part of life that reminds us that there are different levels and that there are different choices to be made. Because the conflict is what allows us to understand the different comparisons of things. conflict. We have to hear ourselves and self-reflect so that we're able to understand what messages are coming from the Most High. We need to self-reflect to look back over situations and experiences that we've had and created to understand, hey, was I God in that moment? Did I lose it? Was I my highest? Were my actions worthy of being remembered? Is it something that I would want to have to defend or explain? Was I God? Was I love? My dad said something very significant to me one day when we were on the phone. We were speaking about what would Jesus do and that whole saying and all that. And he was asking me how I felt about it, and I told him, I shared it with him. And he said to me, he said, well, when it comes to what would Jesus do, I have a hard time with that because, a lot of people are running around here, talking about what would Jesus do and repping that fish on their car or on their shirt or bracelet or whatever, which is cool, but they don't even know what their own mother would do, what their own grandmother would do, what their own grandfather would do. And that was very significant to me because you got to look at the people around you that help to shape and mold you when you're dealing with conflict or when you're making a decision. Okay? Conflict doesn't always mean that something's bad. Conflict means that there are differences, contrasts that we can choose from, different levels that we can go to. We have the right to choose. We have the right to make decisions. And Maya Angelou, she also said, that that's how you live your best life is by taking all the people with you who have contributed to your life in even the smallest way. You take them with you in spirit, in heart, in memory, in action, in behavior. And that's how you are God. That's how you show love. That's how you vibrate love. Love is a vibration, family. It is a vibration. And yet, it's the most beautiful thing, but it makes us feel uncomfortable. Why is that? Why? If I were to wreak havoc in your life right now, intentionally wreak havoc, just so I can see you squirm, or just so I can see you get upset, or just so I can have something to talk about. I did, girl, let me tell you what I did. You could easily hate me. You could easily say, I hate her, and mean it. But that is an expression of the same thing. And according to the Hermetic principles, that is an expression of the same thing. Love and hate, it's a vibration. So why is it that if I intentionally seek to exude love and energy, love and loving energy into your life, why does it make you feel uncomfortable to love me in return? It should be easy. It should be easy. It's conflict. What you see in another person is truly what you see about you. It's truly what you see about you. It's something there Not saying that if you look at a murderer, then you're seeing a murderer. No. No. Although J. Cole would argue anybody is a killer, all you got to do is push them to the limits. But what I'm saying is the emotion, the energy that rises up within you, that internal conflict is you. It is yours. And in order to overcome it, you must face it. And the only space that there is to face it is in the mirror with God. In the mirror, looking at self, listening to self, replaying the events honestly so that you can become a better being. You know, that honest replay is the most important part of the self-reflection process. So important. When you want to become a better human being, you must self-reflect. You must self-reflect. When I think about self-reflection, you know that it's effective when you feel it, when you feel a little bit of a growing pain. There is no growth without a growing pain. You're going to feel yourself shed a little bit of what was and move into what is. It's called repentance. Repentance is not an apology. Repentance is not an apology. Repentance is the actual renewal of your mind. Repentance is when your mind becomes a new vibration. So, conflict, it's not a bad thing. It's actually an opportunity to become your best self, to see yourself, to listen to yourself, to not ignore yourself. I tell you, I once was in a relationship and I kept thinking, this is just not fair. This is that, blah, 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 blah. And I was accusing of all types of things. I was accusing the other person. And then one day, I heard someone say, everything that you accuse him of, you should stand in the mirror and say those things to yourself, because ultimately, that's what relationships are. They are a reflection of you. And I was so offended. How dare you tell me that I need to go say those things to myself in the mirror? I ain't nothing like him. But when I went to that mirror and I said those things to myself, for one, I realized how toxic my words were. I realized how toxic my words were. It doesn't matter whether I felt like it was true or not. The words within themselves, such a toxic vibration. And to be trying to call in love. Then I had to make peace with the fact that that was my truth in that moment. And I had to forgive myself for feeling that way. And I offered myself understanding for feeling that way. And then I had to get real with myself. If these are the things that I really feel are being offered to me, why do I continue to allow those offerings to be placed on my table? That's when things start to get real. Conflict. And I realized that I was never going to be able to be my greatest self in the presence of certain situations. And so I decided to move forward. And as I moved forward, the most beautiful things started to happen for me. the most beautiful relationships started to form. Sometimes the conflict is to help you to let go of what doesn't serve you so that you can make room for what does. Six of Wands. Sometimes the conflict brings the victory. It brings the celebration. You know, because of the contrast of it. The contrast of overcoming. The contrast of allowing yourself to actually let God flow through you. God, love, compassion, understanding, harmony. That's what God is, that universal energy of harmony and love, understanding and peace. This message is for the collective. It's for the collective. It's for all of those out there that may be dealing with conflict. Conflict is one of the most beautiful aspects of your spiritual journey. Conflict is that space where you're able to say, okay, I have the right to choose, and I'm choosing this. I'm choosing life. I'm choosing love. Conflict. Conflict. Nine of Swords. I see the Tower. The Tower's wanting to be on the table as well. We'll see if it'll come back out. Ace of Cups. Conflict. You know, that time, the Nine of Swords, though, this is the time and space of listening. It's like that's the energy of running from yourself for so long, not listening to yourself for so long, ignoring your own needs for so long, not nurturing yourself for so long that now you can't sleep at night. You've betrayed yourself. You've foregone the things that you promised yourself, all the things that you committed in your mind to yourself. You let you down. That's what the Nine of Swords is really about. And it's about coming to grips with that. It's about coming to grips with the things that you've done or have not done to you or for you. And crying, letting it out so you can let it go. Tears, they have memories. It's so important to be able to cry. Tears, water carries memory. And those tears, as you cry, they wash some of that pain away if you would allow it to. Thank you, Divine Mother and Father, for your messages, not my messages, for the collective on conflict. Knight of Wands and Ace of Swords. The Knight of Wands is like that energy that says, you know, it's time for us to make some moves. It's time for us to do what we got to do. You know, make it happen, Captain. But the Knight of Wands is also a very spiritual card. It's that quickening in your solar plexus. That's how I feel it. Like a quickening in your solar plexus. Like, do something different. Do something different. Don't continue to do the same thing and expect something different. Do something different. Feel it differently. Have a different perspective of it. A different awakening of it so that you can do something different about it. It comes with the Ace of Swords. That Ace of Swords is saying like, hey, look, I made a choice. I made a choice. I chose one of these swords. I didn't let them hover over me anymore. I didn't let them weigh me down anymore. I wasn't going to allow these old things to continue to get into my way. These are swords, daggone it. These are swords, and I can use it. I can use these thoughts that seem to have kept me up all night. I can use them for my benefit. I can listen to me for once and finally be heard. I can make different choices. I can think differently. I can vibrate differently. If that's what I choose. If that's what I choose. So, coming out is the Empress. The Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles. And the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands. And at the bottom of the deck, the Five of Wands. Now let me tell you how I'm seeing this. Let me tell you how I'm seeing this tonight. It is so not the usual. So not the usual. I see this Empress. This Empress who she's usually about nurturing self. And she is. She's a very feminine character. But tonight, I see this story of the Empress standing up on her own 2 feet and saying, I'm taking initiative. I'm going to stand in my feminine energy. I'm not going to fight myself so much. I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to definitely allow people to see me in my full goddess energy and the things that I can exude. I am love. I am love. With this Seven of Swords, I see this Seven of Swords saying, the Seven of Wands, excuse me. I see the Seven of Wands saying, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this work. It's not going to be easy. I know it's not about to be easy, but I'm going to do this work. It's a mind thing. It's the work of the mind. When you go into conflict and self-meditation, it is the work of the mind. But these spirit cards, this is saying, I'm going to let my higher self lead this fight this time. When I think about the swords and when I think about the wands, they are similar energies, but the swords are the thoughts. And the wands are bringing those thoughts actually into the physical, the action of the spirit. Okay? So, as above, so below. Whatever it is that you're thinking, okay, that's where the bread and butter is. That's where the energy first is initiated. Okay? And then the wands are just like, they're bringing it into form. So that's why it's so important to mind your thoughts, because your thoughts are what's willing itself into being. Okay, and I see in this card, I see this being saying, you know what, no, this time I'm going to be in control of my thoughts. I want to think the right thoughts. I want to think happy thoughts. I do not want to be at war anymore. And even though the Five of Wands is about conflict, conflict is so much about opportunity. A challenge is an opportunity to overcome. And in this picture, I so see them. Instead of fighting, I don't see that right now. What I see is them working together. It looks like they're working together to try to build a star, to try to build something together. Okay? So I see us as individuals working on self, and that being reflected out into the community, to where that's what we become, this one united entity where we're actually working together to become what we need to become. And then underneath that Five of Swords was the Knight of Pentacles. So you see how the story is looking, and with these cards, it looks like this is the internal conflict that's going on. But when you get your mind right and you get everything on the same page, you align with your star player. I so stole that tonight from my favorite YouTuber. But when you get in alignment with your higher self, this becomes this. You become the Knight of Pentacles. You succeed. Everything that it is that you feel that you should be bringing into fruition is there. Oh my goodness, the Page of Cups. I wish you guys could have seen how that card slid back for this other card to be seen. And it's the Page of Cups. And I always think about a new love, restoration of love when I see the Page of Cups. And so through bringing your thoughts into alignment and with your higher self, bringing your thoughts into alignment with your higher self, forgiving yourself, allowing yourself the time to mourn and cry, but then getting up, actually getting up, choosing a sword, making a choice, actually making a decision. Like, come on, that quickening in your solar plexus, you go with it. You grab the sword. You grab the sword. You grab that happy thought. You grab that idea. You grab that thing that you love, that you want to do, that you really want to do or experience. You grab hold of that and you believe in it. You believe in it. You believe in it. You receive it. That's feminine energy, receiving, okay? You receive it. Allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to be loved. And then you stand in it. And you let everybody see. Like, yes. 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 I am love. I am love. Abundantly. I got so much magic, y'all. You can have it. In the words of Solange. You can have it. Getting all your thoughts on one accord, not allowing yourself to drift into that space of negativity, but allowing yourself to say, you know what, for once and for all, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. This is what I believe in. This is what I want. This is what I desire. And actually asking for the help that you need. And not assuming that people know what you need. Asking for it so that it can come together. Conflict is an opportunity for growth and development. And this is you. This is you chilling with the star finally made and all come together. This is you chilling. Chilling. Knight of Pentacles. Holding it together. The alchemist. The magician. And that ushers in new love. That is what ushers in new love. And not just romantic love. New love on a vibrational planet level. Sister, brother. All of us are one. Heart space to heart space. Connected type of love. It all starts with that one person in the mirror. It's so important to self-reflect. I'm going to pull a card from the Sacred Map, the Enchanted Map, by Colette Baron Reed. And I hope that this card is going to bring some type of peace or advice to whoever may need it. Divine Mother and Father, thank you so much for your messages. Thank you for allowing me to be a clear channel for your messages, Divine Mother and Father. Thank you so much for your advice. Cleaning house. Cleaning house. That's the card that comes out. Cleaning house. Cleaning house. It's like those thoughts. Getting those thoughts that don't serve you out of there. Making a decision. Again, you know. Conflict. What do you choose? What do you choose? You have the right to choose. What do you choose? It's time to clear the clutter to make way for better things. Yes, we just talked about that. Letting go of the things that don't serve you so that the things that do serve you can have room to come to you. When you see the cleaning house card in a reading, it's time to declutter your life. Get rid of unwanted things in your physical home and release what you no longer want or truly need. Is there any unfinished business you should address? Thoughts, memories, and emotional baggage must be swept out of your house as well. Your conscience must be clear for you to move freely in the world. Your conscience must be clear for you to move freely in the world. He's paralyzed right now because of his thoughts. But that's okay. That's okay. Because we know that you're just one choice away, just one decision away. Just one decision away from choosing a happy thought and getting it together, asking for the help that you need, putting it together, defending what you believe in, defending what is yours, your right to be happy, your thoughts. You deserve to think the thoughts that you want to think. And when you finally realize that, Knight of Pentacles. Celebrate a spring cleaning and feel the freedom as you make way for much better things. Look at what you've resisted. Look at what you've resisted. Discarding and being... Look at what you've resisted, discarding, and be honest about its value. Be honest, clean house. What have you resisted letting go of? Okay? What have you resisted letting go of? And at the bottom is the compass. And it's a 5 card, which is a card of change, needing to make a decision. As long as you orient your compass to true north, the direction of your higher power, you will never be lost. You're entering uncharted territories right now and can expect wonderful new experiences. To stay on the highest path of your destiny, you'll need to keep your compass pointed to true north. Only spirit or a higher power, your star player, can serve this function. Money, property, prestige, romance, and other material achievements can't help you find your true path. They are simply things you may experience along the journey. Know that Spirit is working in your life, so even if you feel lost temporarily, it will be easy to find your way. Have faith and trust, for your compass with Spirit as true north will ensure that you'll never be lost, even on a starless night when all seems dark. Even on a starless night when all seems dark. So family, if you are out there dealing with conflict and it feels like heartache, heartbreak, it feels like can't move, it feels like you're paralyzed, it feels like nobody hears you, nobody understands you, give yourself what it is that you think you're lacking, and then you'll be able to give it to others. Forgive yourself, and then you'll be able to forgive others, and then that's when peace sets in. So family, I'm going to leave you with that. I love you all. So until next time, continue to vibrate love and vibrate well.